We've got this from the White House, indeed. President Donald J. Trump announces interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the good old US of A. Trump truthed. I am pleased to announce the interim authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oils to the U.S. The oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. I've asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, just a moment ago, we were talking about the weird trends and the shift in the narrative. Let me put it like this. Let me ask this. Why are there people who are effectively, I don't mean literally, but effectively on the side of Chinese expansion? Honest question. Venezuela in the 2000s seized American oil assets, stole it from us, billions of dollars, and we did nothing. We sanction them. We say that's BS. Now you've got a combination of factors, including the narco-terrorism stuff, narco gangs, crime, expansion, but more importantly, Iran and China operating through Venezuela, and Venezuela selling oil that we've sanctioned to Iran and China. China has to import a lot of this oil. Why would we just allow them to do this? They have aggressed upon us a long time ago. There's already conflict, and they're aiding and abetting China. I'm not suggesting it's good that we went in and snatched Maduro, but I am saying this does benefit the United States more than, say, Afghanistan or Iraq. But there are people, once again, on the right who are blindly just in the America shouldn't do these things. It feels more like people are marching behind fake narratives as opposed to actually having a nuanced argument about this. So again, with the previous conversation, that it seems like people have flipped on a dime, I see the exact same thing here. There is a nuanced conversation about Venezuela. The issues that took place with the regime change wars we launched by invading Iraq and Afghanistan are palpable, and we can discuss all of the problems that have emerged. We're still dealing with Afghanistan. The removal of the president of Venezuela is an entirely different story, and we don't want it to become a regime change war. I don't want boots on the ground, but there is nuance. It's completely different. There are people who are just tweeting things where they're like, it's 1 or 0. That's it. The United States should do nothing. They should let Venezuela sell oil that they stole our assets over to produce and give it to China.
Well, they're talking out of both sides of the mouth then, because you can't on one hand say we want someone to do something and then get mad when someone does something. And we didn't start a war. We took one guy. We took one person. And it was kind of badass how we did it too, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally. Perfect operation, by the way.
Do you know what?
Perfect.
Do you know what gave me hope about this administration? Not a single leak about that operation. Not a single leak came out. No one knew that was happening. It just happened. And it gave me faith and hope that maybe, just maybe, there are things happening behind the scenes, and we don't hear about them because there are no leaks. We actually do have a secure White House, and we have a secure staff that's not going to let things go. It gives me hope that maybe one day things will come out that make me very, very happy.
And you know what helps is ejecting all of the adversarial media from the Pentagon. I mean, hello, like everyone was like, why did that happen? It's like, because this would have been on the front page everywhere if that happened, because these people are sourcing stories. Also, it's hilarious seeing like Brian Krasstein in there, who's like always chirping about Ukraine. It's like, dude, people with zero like geopolitical consciousness are like jumping on this story. Do you know how you defeat Russia? You flood the market with cheap oil and you force them to bring their oil price down. That will destroy their economy. This is the worst thing to happen to Russia than any victory Ukraine has inflicted on them in the battlefield. This is how you conduct the geopolitical affairs. This is how you bend the arm of our political adversaries. This is how you. This is geopolitics 101. And these people, their entire political dichotomy is just Trump or no Trump. Like that's all it really comes down to.
Yeah, but my point is that on the right, it's happening now too.
Well, on the right, though, again, that goes back to the natural contrarians, where they're just dissatisfied with anybody that's our guys in power.
I agree. I think based on the trends that we're seeing, the response to Trump from the right even is that we are going back to uniparty politics. I imagine by this time, 4 years from now, we are going to be, it's going to be Hillary Clinton versus Mitt Romney-esque politics. You're going to get 20, look, it was supposed to be Charlie Kirk and J.D. Vance. That's the reporting, that Kirk was going to be the VP for J.D. in 28. I don't know what's going to happen in 28. It may be J.D. Vance, but the way the right's fighting, especially still lingering into a midterm year, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to muster up a coalition to win.
It's going to be
sounds like 2032 is the plan to return to Hillary Clinton versus John McCain.
it just seems to me the issue is the Democrat Party, because the parties are reacting to each other. And we were talking yesterday about Mamdani, and I was evaluating Mamdani's viability as like this truly transformational mayor in New York City, even though the transformation would be grim. But I made the point, I was like, I think fundamentally he's going to be rage baiting the right for 4 years, because all he's really trying to do is legitimize his ideas in the Democrat Party. How do you do that? Well, you become the boogeyman for the right. So that way people on the left say, wow, this Mamdani guy seems to draw the ire of Republicans more than anybody else. And the way that people conduct politics now, because it's a outrage economy, is they just seek for, how do I inflame the other side as much as possible? On the right, it's kind of based when we do it, but that's something to be said about that. So it's really tough to see a situation in which either party sort of moderates, like their base actually moderates their taste. I just don't see the appetite for that in either party.
Well, you vote for the guy the other side hates the most, right?
Yep. So
this Manami in New York, everyone voted for him because every conservative said, "Oh my gosh, he's a communist." Even the president's talking about it, and they showed out numbers for it. They did, but I mean, New York's a petri dish. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's a lost cause. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to recover from that. I mean, even the conservative guy who was running, how conservative was he? He was talking about seizing real estate and then redistributing it for low-income housing.
Yeah, well, it's even. I mean, obviously there's a different story at play here, but like even Mamdani, like there's not that much America can actually do in New York City. It's a city council driven like government. So what's really going to be the most consequential result of Mamdani's sort of reign, so to speak, is just like more vape shops opening, and just like the decline continuing. Like I don't think he's going to actually like establish this Maoist state in New York. What he's doing is actually worse, because it's one thing if it's like concentrated to New York City falls apart, and everyone in this like country goes, wow, we can't do that. We can't repeat that. What's happening is far worse. He's going to be ineffective as mayor, and he's going to legitimize his ideas in the Democrat Party. And now the entire Democrat Party is going to be Mamdani-style politics. That's far worse. It'd be much better if it was just contained to New York City. That would be optimal, but that's just not what's going to happen. And he's just going to continue to rage bait. He's going to continue to say these really inflammatory things that we as commentators have no choice but to jump on, because you got to correct the record. Yeah. And it's just going to legitimize his philosophy.
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of them in office now, too. I mean, you've got AOC, you've got a handful of people that have just come out and said, yes, communism is good.
Mayor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, even if they don't say it's communism, they're repeating lines that Marx used. All the policies that have destroyed socialist countries around the world. Doesn't matter what society it was before the socialists got in power. It's the same result. The capital leaves because nothing is holding it there. People with money leave, and then the tax base dries up. They start taxing the middle class or expropriating the property of the middle class, which is what they're hoping to do in the United States. It's just a bad thing that the Democrats have allowed for this kind of ideology to infest them. It used to be where you had Democrats that were, fairly conservative or would agree with Republicans. Those days are over. That is gone. And now you're going to see more and more politicians that are that are basically the far left. I personally think that's somewhat due to the fact that the left is more internationally informed now because of the internet, right? Like Democrats in the U.S., it used to be Democrats would get their ideas from other Democrats and stuff. Nowadays, you get people on the internet that are getting basically fed socialist slop from other countries and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing about like social media that causes problems. I was talking about on the show today is, we are developing sort of this international consciousness, but it's really only occurring on the left. And this is why Antifa is increasingly effective. Like in Berlin, they had an attack, I believe it was like last night, our time, where they effectively took out the entire power grid in Berlin. It was an Antifa cell. And the issue is like you can't contain these things anymore. Like that's not just something that happens in Germany. That's happening globally. That's why when we classified Antifa as an FTO, that wasn't just like a sleight of hand trick so we could go after them. It was like, no, they genuinely are collaborating over borders, and that's what's so terrifying. And then this point with like Mamdani, it's a really good point that needs to be made is we have this tendency in America to just want to go back to like the 90s. Like we're like, oh, then that's when things were perfect, the 90s, 80s. But the thing that you have to do, if you're really trying to restore America, if you're trying to make America great again, you have to ratchet it all the way back, because you can't ratchet liberalism back to an earlier stage and then just freeze it there and hope it doesn't develop into this. 10 times out of 10, it's going to result in Mamdani, because that's how political philosophy works. You have to keep moving the football down the field in order, if you have like a, sort of vision for what you want the country to be, and it's just going to naturally turn into this every single time. Like you can't just freeze a political ideology in place. It's always going to continue to develop along these
You'll never
lines.
reach equilibrium. It's always a pendulum.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't see the policies that the Democrats are pushing being popular with the older people in the United States, but I do see a lot of energy in the young people.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, and it's exactly as because they've been seeking to overhaul the demographics of the United States, and there's no question about that. Biden was pretty open about that. And so it's just going to get worse as the older population dies off because, again, the younger you get, the less American it gets. Like it's more and more people who are foreign born or like their children are foreign born, and typically children of foreign born politics reflect their parents. So it's like the Democrats have set this play up. They set this up 60 years ago, like with the Hart-Celler Act. Like this has been in development for a very long time, is to make Republicans just politically unviable as an institution. And so that's kind of the problem. I don't think people realize like there was an hourglass that was turned over. And in many ways, we kind of ran out of time already. Trump's sort of brought denaturalization to the table. It's like, okay, we might actually be able to undo some of this damage, but it's like, dude, this has been a masterful play by the Democrats. They're not idiots. Some of their actual politicians are idiots, but a lot of these guys are careful, they're prudent, they know what they want, and in many ways, they want it more than we do.
Well, this is what I'm saying. We have to be generational mindset. If we can admit and say and believe that it's taken 60 years for them to get here, they've been in charge for a very long time. We're not going to win this with one presidency or at minimum 1 year. It's going to take a very long time to win this game. It's why raising kids, having kids is the most important thing we can do.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.